All right, welcome back to, well, it's our countertop build. So for today, we're gonna be grinding, polishing, and sealing our concrete countertop. So where we kind of left off, I stripped the forms, flipped it over, and just to expose what was there. And you can see that, you know, it does have a nice smooth finish. To be honest, I was using some of these other pads I used in the past that are for wet sanding or wet grinding, that sort of thing, but they just take forever, and I'm trying to get down to the aggregates. So I went and bought something new. It's made for the dry. Okay, this is made for dry only. Those others they say are for wet and dry. But this is the product I'm gonna use. I got a 50, 100, and a 200. And then after that, then I'll be using that higher grit ones. Here's one that's 2000. I wrote on there way back. But because those are wet and dry. But I want to get down to that aggregate to kind of see those rocks, the aggregate. And it just takes forever for that other one. So this is something I'm actually trying new. I knew about, but I just haven't gotten for a while. And this is going to be the time I'm going to give it a try and see how it goes. Some things that you got to be really careful of is that silica, the dust. You don't want to be breathing that in. So I do have a shop vac. Shop vac has a bag in it. That's the best one, not the filter, but it's like a filter bag. And that helps with the real super fines, pulling that out. So I'm going to be using that in combination with my variable speed grinder, because it does say that it needs to be it recommends as low as 2500 psi, where right now the lowest I'm going to be going is 2800. So it's going to be real close, but not quite there. So let's see the process, see how we get down to it. You know, I'm going to be constantly going in circles, going around, trying not to stay in one spot. So I kind of work my way back and forth this way, work my way back and forth this way, and then diagonal kind of to just even everything out. Things that I have already done, test fitted the sink, and it was just a little bit tight, so I did have to use a different grinder, diamond wheel, to grind this side back. And I did have to grind a little bit on this edge here, so to get it down flush with the bottom of this. I am gonna have to come back and epoxy. It's like a piece of steel, flat bar steel, right on the bottom side of this, just so that when the sink goes in, it doesn't just kind of keep going in. It helps support it. And then as well as the silicone caulking, when I go to caulk that'll help support it as well. So yeah, so using the vacuum, using the grinder, let's get started in our grinding phase. All right, let's get this going. We got our on number 1. Okay, good to go. Keep going. All right, we got the first phase of the grinding done, which took a while. Got this all the way up to 200 grit. And what made the most sense and made it the easiest, because it takes a while, is on your grinder, if you're going back and forth on a slight angle, back and forth, it kind of, what it needs is really to get down below that cream layer. In this case, get below that cream layer. It seems like it's hard to get through that cream layer. Especially with the age of this concrete now. It's over a month and a half old. And I also did the face down to 200 grit. And so, you know, you're going through with the 50 quite a lot to get it about to where you want it. This is about the amount of aggregate that we want to see. And then we took it up to the 100, going over it a bunch, trying to keep it more flat. And then the 200, and on this edge right here, I got these little sanding blocks the diamond sanding blocks. And I did the 100, 220, and then 400. I do have an 800 block as well, but that I won't be till after the slurry. So now there's all these little pinholes. I don't know if you can see them. Like here, there's pinholes like all over the place. So the next phase is to do a slurry mix, and this is the slurry mix that I'm going to use. Just work it in and fill in all those air bubbles everywhere, as well as all these little cracks. Try to fill this in a little bit better so that that comes out a little nicer. And yeah, so that's the next phase. Slurry it, let it cure for about a week. It only probably needs to be cured for about 3 days, 2 to 3 days. But I won't be able to get back to this for probably at least a week. So, and then at that point, I'll grind through polish through the slurry and take it up to probably about 800 grit for this will be just fine. Get it nice and smooth, and then it'll be right away ready for sealer right after that. So slurry's next. All right, we got a little tray that I'm gonna mix in some water. Got this all set up. I do need to pre-wet it. So you don't want something just super dry sucking in that moisture out so fast. But I'm not gonna need all of this, so I'll probably mix up half of it. Mix up half of it. This slurry mix is probably 5-6 years old. So yeah, that's probably going to be all I need for it. I'm going to mix it kind of runny somewhat, but this is the nice thing you get to see about this. This is kind of what this is going to look like. So you can see like the water, it really soaking up that water really good. I don't want it super saturated, but I'm going to use a plastic spatula just because it won't scratch the countertop as much as a metal one would. Best just to, sometimes easiest just to work it in with your fingers. You got to go back and forth in those air pockets. there. Let that set up some right where that chip was. Scrape off all the excess best I can. I can nest it out in there. All right, so it's been a couple days, been about 6-7 days, and got the slurries all cured out, nice and hard, except for it's dusty. So I'm gonna vacuum that all off, repolish it with about a 400 grit polishing pad. So there's no reason to go back to 100. So otherwise we're putting more scratches in it. So we're gonna vacuum and clean it all up first, and then polish it, and then get work on our way down to a higher grit of 800 grit. And then after 800 grit for concrete countertop, it doesn't need to go higher. If it was a more denser like stone, like granite and that sort of thing, that's when you want to get that to that polish of 2,000, 3,000 grit. But for concrete countertops with the sealer and the wax and stuff that we do, you don't need that higher grit. So here we go. So I just got through using the 200 again. Thought I was going to use the 800, but I decided to use the 200 and got it back to this nice smooth again. Now the next one that I'm going to use is this 800. It's a different pad. This one they say is wet or dry. My experience is probably best with wet, but in this case I'm going to use it for dry. So, but I don't have another one like this that's an 800. This is made for dry only. So want to give it a try. It seemed to work just as fine as these, so about the same. Really getting in there, especially the 50. Like I said before, kind of getting at an angle is what it took to kind of get down into the aggregate portion. It still has been probably at least on this little tiny countertop, probably hours wise, I probably spent 6, 7, 8 hours of grinding to get to this point. So now it's going to probably take at least another hour throughout the polishing process. So after, actually I need to go get a 400, not 200 or not 800. So I'm gonna go grab my 400, and then I'll finish off with this 800. So this is kind of what the 400 looks like. Looks the exact same other than it's 400. So I'm gonna use this, and then I'll jump up to the 800 and go from there.
Me.
Well, that's it for the polishing stage. So we can get a good shot at it for you. And it's real smooth. It's just real smooth. Just when I put the sealer on, it's really gonna make it shiny. And all the little tiny fine sand aggregates that are there will help bring those out, give life to those a little bit better. In the front face, you saw how I use the different sanding pads for this edge, and it's the only front edge it's exposed, so that's all that I care about. And then this little patch here, patched up fairly nice. You know, you can still tell it's a patch, but you know, it's concrete, so it's got to have some sort of character. And in a sense, that gives it character. So next phase, we're going to use our sealer. We're going to be using a bucket like that, and it's basically you're going to be washing it, wiping it down, letting it dry for about 30 minutes or so, and then do another coat, then another coat. There's about 6 coats total what we're going to do for the sealer. All right, looks like we're ready for our sealer, and I got a thing of water and an empty bucket, and I've got our sealer. So what it says to do is to saturate the concrete countertop with water first, get it fully saturated, and then a 50-50% solution of water and sealer. So this is a food grade sealer, and this sealer is also going to allow it to have like a, you know, just the feel of the concrete rather than like a epoxy feel like on top of it. That's what I'm after. I want to feel the concrete, the natural surface. So 50-50% solution of water to sealer, and then gradually strengthening the sealer to 100%. You see I'll be kind of pouring just the sealer over it. And let that set for about 5 minutes, it says, or a little bit longer. And letting it roll over the edge and all that good stuff as well. And then let that set for 30 minutes and then come back and do another coat. So the next coat would be starting off probably with a 50-50% solution, not the complete water saturation. So, and continuing on, we're gonna keep adding sealer until it's not absorbing any sealer. That's what we're after. So, as far as the amount of coats. So, let's start with watering down our countertop. And I got a microfiber cloth to help with keep it from scratching and all that good stuff. There's still that dust. None of that's gonna hurt anything. If you're doing a wet cure, during that process of you're doing your wet cure, you need to start adding sealer to it. When you're after the polishing stage, it's all wet. Then you can just move right into using the sealer, which is kind of nice. When it's dry, you got to really saturate it good. If you don't wet it, it's gonna cure too fast. It'll be right on the surface. It won't be absorbing it into the concrete. So that's kind of why you're wetting it down. Let's see. And you can see that I am wearing gloves. In the back. And eventually what we'll do is we'll come back with a rag and wipe it off after about 5 minutes. wipe off any excess. Thing about concrete countertop you gotta also keep in mind is this is a food grade sealer, so that's why it's up on the countertop, which is sealer for a floor, has other toxic HVOCs. There's other chemicals in it that it's not good for us to ingest, so but it's just fine for walking on. It's a little harder surface, that sort of thing. But for this type of sealer, it's a water-based sealer. We want to keep in mind that even though you seal the countertop, it could be that the concrete can still be susceptible to acid staining, such as things from like tomato juice and lime juice and wines and things like that. So it can bleach out your countertop or etch it, that type of thing. In my experience, we do lots of cooking in our kitchen, is in canning as well, is that a lot of times, like, if you end up developing a ring from like canning and whatnot, you kind of panic at first, but it patinas and it kind of absorbs the pigment in the surrounding area. If it's an overly excessive, large bleached area, then and here you go, then it doesn't have enough surrounding area to do that. So here's the next thing. So I'm gonna try not to wipe this too much. I'm done with the 50-50. Now I'm gonna start adding just full strength. Want that. So that 50-50 now helped it absorb deep into the concrete. Deep as in it's probably only going to go like an 1/8 inch, honestly, or less. But keep in mind this is 17 ounces, this bottle here. So if you're going to have a bigger countertop, you're going to need more sealer. This area over here, it's absorbing it really good. Once we get all the sealer done, and then the way we want it, enough coats and all that sort of thing, there's a wax that you'll buff on it like you're waxing a car. It's not just regular wax, it's one that's food grade. Yeah, we'll put a coat of wax, and that really makes it shine. They say that wax is good for, you know, a year or two, but in my past, I never waxed it after that. So it'd be years on some of the kitchens that I had for myself. A client wanted to pay me extra later on to come wax it again, kind of really shine it up again, and of course we'd come do that for them. I want to kind of give it a good saturate with the full strength. You've got to get a hold of yourself. Would you just look at that? So I'm gonna let that cure up for 30 minutes or so, and I'll come back and add another coat. Well, it's been about 30 minutes. It's amazing how fast 30 minutes goes when you're watching it on YouTube, but it's time for the next coat. I'm going to use the kind of the same mixes I've been using. It's about 50-50 strength, maybe slightly more, and start applying it. Same process again and again.
Let's get started.
All right, well everybody, we got our sealer on, and the one thing about the sealer that at least it was doing right now, and probably because it was a dry grind, is there's like this spider webby, I don't know if you can quite see it, it's like a spider webby dryness, blotchiness to the sealer. So I'm gonna buff it out. And so, I mean, don't panic when you get stuff like that. So it could be nervousness at first, but just don't panic. So I'm gonna buff it out, no problem. Chang actually does sell it's a bristle pad like this. They have different grits. This one's for like buffing. The next one will be more for like polishing, which I'm gonna do. I gotta look it up. Green. Yeah, so I'm gonna do my other variable wet speed angle grinder, because it's a lower rotation speed. So like I'm gonna probably put it at about 800 rotations per minute. So number one, using that, I'm gonna start off with the yellow. That's for smoothing the surface. And the other one just kind of your maintenance type, sort of buffing. And then I'm gonna go right into a wax. I'm gonna use the wax with my my wool pad here. And yeah, so get started, we're gonna do that. All right, here's the wax I'm gonna use. You know, I do like using the same brand. So here's Chang's, this is their wax, food grade wax, water based. It says low VOC, that's what we want, that's the bad stuff. And then here, if you wanted to do like your maintenance, like especially kitchen, to kind of keep that shine, you can polish it just with like a memory cloth or a no nap cloth. You're just buffing it in and that sort of thing. But I'm not going to do that. That'll be like later, you know, a year. Or, to be honest, I probably won't even ever use it because you know, it's a bathroom. Okay, let's get started with our buff. Wait a minute. All right, so after that polishing buffing phase, I got all of that, you know, 800 first, and then the maintenance, and then the well, not maintenance, this is the yellow, what do they call it, smooth surface, and then the maintenance. And so it buffed it right back out. The 800, don't panic when you're cutting through that the sealer, the little highs of the sealer. It kind of almost at first looked like it was scratching it real bad, and then you buff it because it's just the surface, just the sealer. So it looks amazing. Now, and you know, this is nice and shiny, but yet I still haven't waxed it. So let's get to it, waxing. Got some epoxy to do, and then shoot, it's ready to install. All right, so I got these flat bar steel. I got some metal concrete epoxy. It's a two-part epoxy. So I'm gonna put it all here on the concrete, flip this steel over, and what this steel is gonna be is like halfway hanging over, and it's gonna help hold my sink up. That's the main thing what it is on both sides. What it'll also do is, because I'm gonna have a support here, I'm gonna have a support there, and then one here, it helps with the tension that might be in the concrete because it's kind of floating there. So it's gonna do a couple things. So I'm gonna go ahead and mix this epoxy. All I got is 8 minutes. And what I'm planning on is this one-time use for this epoxy. Mix it up. Get a weight of some sort. Well, we just got the countertop in place, so as you can see, it turned out really nice. My wife's real happy about it, the boss. So shine wise came out real good. The fit was real nice. We'll just have to touch up a little bit on the paint as we're putting it in. It's a nice fit. So watch that first video that we had on doing the template. So something very similar to that. The shine of it, it's real good. Underneath, I got an angle iron bracket. Oop, let's turn this on. There we go. Got an angle iron bracket here. It's got it shimmed. Also the metal plates, as you can see, helps with the deflection of it as well. Got a ledger going all the way around. It's gonna be like it's a floating shelf. And the next, what I got left is plumbing, and we'll create a little box right here to hide the plumbing. And that's it. So yeah, so hopefully you liked. It is some work, so don't think that it's just quick and easy and that concrete should be cheap, because it's not in this case. So it takes a lot of labor. So this countertop, labor wise, probably took me about 40 hours to do it from start to completion. So just be aware of that sort of thing. And then as well as material. So thankfully I'm not paying myself that, but if I was, that's an added cost. So to a job site, or a job. So the sink fit good. This particular sink, this is what my wife designed, what she wanted. So yeah, and all the cracks you can see, they kind of blend in, kind of go away. There used to be a hairline crack here, some other spots, but when we fill them in with that slurry mix, you can see all the pinholes went away with the slurry mix, and it all turned out really nice. So hopefully you enjoyed, hopefully you liked, hopefully you learned something, and like always, make sure you're being safe. Wear your safety glasses, ear protection, and that sort of thing, and your gloves for the different processes for sealing, waxing, stuff like that. So look forward to seeing you on the next one.